longing, and love. Just a few of the 9,000 or so words of tribute on Facebook, like thousands upon thousands of words expressed in person between you all. Mr. Ingalls would be red-faced and overwhelmed. He would also have rolled his eyes at your spelling, your grammar, and one has no doubt what his critique of all of it would have been. Director Ingalls would have marveled at the emotional depth displayed and wonder why it took so much damn time for him to pull that out of you on stage. Doug would have stomped his feet 3 times and snorted into his Diet Coke at the phrases that loom so large in your common memory. And he would have wept with gratitude for the outpouring on his and Bruce's behalf. As his minister, I was just getting to know Doug. He was just beginning to find a place in the congregation that I serve and dreamed openly with me about the possibilities of adding dramatic scenes to some of the services that we do. You see, theater was like crack to him. He saw a production potential. He no sooner joined the congregation than he became part of the tech crew behind stage, where we shared Diet Cokes in between prayers and hymns. I remember, however, the other part of Doug that was brought to church, the one that had been trying to find a place to be, to simply be. Having lost his mother and then losing his father, I remember consoling him shortly after his father's died and him marveling at another's capacity to sense what he needed in that moment. And yet, here we are together marveling at such a well-lived, albeit short, life. He'd see a bit of irony, I suspect, and yet deep down, this was the faith that he lived. Faith and wonder at the depth of the creative human spirit that came alive for him most often on stage. Whether he shocked us into realizing the potential of that spirit with a sudden dance, dip, and a kiss, a devilish grin, an outrageous comment, there's no R in the cleft, or trusting his student's sense of judgment and fairness, cutting a script to size at the last minute for competition, or laughing at our most outrageous attempt to be proper. He was goading us to be more and more of our deepest selves. He reminds me somewhat of that old Native American trickster clown, the one in the tribe who picked another member each day to follow around and to exaggerate their movements. He made us feel self-conscious at times, and our frailties, and self-conscious also of our fantastic potential. Like his favorite play, Blithe Spirit, Doug embodied the character of Charles, who could sense and perceive that spirit that others seemed oblivious to in the moment. His ability to direct and perform was guided by such a sensibility. And yet, as serious as he took his roles, he also understood the art and purpose of play and humor, calling out the best and the worst of us at a time when we'd feel all ready to strangle him or to hang it up forever. Like the ancient native antagonist, we would want to scream and to hug him at the same time. Like Oscar Wilde, Mr. Engels, too, regarded theater as the greatest of all art forms, the most immediate way in which a human being can share with another the sense of what it means to be a human being. And it is in this context that many here learn the greatest lessons that he had to teach. The origin of the word theater is from the Greek, meaning the seeing place. One has only to reference the thousands of words of tribute to this grand man on the internet to know that his legacy was the opening of many eyes and lives, and the vision of many creative lives well lived. Like Emerson, I believe it was Emerson, who once quipped back to a man who asked about dying, "In order to die, you must have first lived, and only a few have truly lived since the world began." Doug Ingalls taught us how to live fully, joyfully, creatively, laughingly, and lovingly. And for this, we will miss him greatly. So the next time you crack open a Diet Coke, or you find yourself in the audience on an opening night, or sweating blood trying to write a critique, or laughing with friends about mannerisms that were so much Mr. Engels, remember to say a silent thank you. For it is in these moments that his spirit is most generously alive in you, and with that, his life is made perpetually purposeful. I close with a reading that was spoken at his internment service last week from the poet George Santayana. With you, a part of me hath passed away. For in the peopled forest of the mind, a tree made leafless by this wintry wind shall never dawn again its green array. Chapel and fireside, country road and bay have something of their friendliness resigned. Another, if I could not find, and I am grown much older in the day. But yet, I treasure in my memory your gift of clarity and young heart's ease, and the dear honor of your amity. For these once mine, my life is rich with these, and I scarce know which part the greater may be. What I keep of you, or what you